lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment. Thank you. All right, first up is the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Up next is recognition. Dr. Austin.
Mr. Goodwill, if you want to go down here, we're going to hand out some certificates for the ATM drive. As I'm walking down, Ms. Van Zandt has pulled up on the screen drawings that our students have completed, and this is something that we do on a monthly basis, is recognize students who have submitted drawings, not only submitted, but been recognized by the Kingsport Times News. So it's an incredible opportunity for our students, and I want to take the opportunity to recognize them every chance we get. So we're going to start out from Flatwoods Elementary, and this particular meeting, we've got everybody drawing cards. We didn't have any write-ins this month, but we have from Flatwoods Elementary, Cecilia Barnett, Lindsay Blair, Jaden Collins, Hannah Cohen, Ian Grace, Zach Gregory, Jamie Levacy. Congratulations.
What's your name?
Jamie.
Levacy, okay.
And if you want to go over to your stand just a minute, we'll get a picture of you here just a second. Kylie Owens, Tucker Sizemore, Saxon Skidmore, Dorothy Smith, Carly Spears, Casey Wolliver. Congratulations. And Michael Wolliver. Congratulations. From Pennington Middle, we've got Bailey Harrington, Caitlin Rutledge, and Ethan Wardell. From Jonesville Middle, Braden Cooper, Drew Cox, Adam Garrett, Ivy Garrett, Ethan Gates, Brittany Jernigan, J.R. Jernigan, Emily Pilon, not sure if I pronounced your last name right, Connor Root, Elijah Stigger, and Alton Warren. And those are the students that we wanted to recognize this month. So I want to say with school out, first of all, congratulations on getting your drawing in the paper, but also thank you for being here this evening. We wanted to make sure we recognized what you did. So if you want to scoot together, we'll take a picture. That way we get it on our website, send it to the paper, and smile.
Next up is public comment. Do we have any public comment this time? State your name and you know
State
the
my
rules.
name. Okay. Hi, my name is Sandra Johnson. First of all, I want to say thank you to the board and Dr. Austin for all the help and understanding and everything that you've done for me while being the LCA president. Yeah. We have a new president coming in. Her name is Tara Haley.
Tara Haley, yes.
Tara Haley. She's a teacher from Rose Hill, of course, and it's time that we put young people in, take the old people out, you know. But I have enjoyed the years that I've had, and everything that you guys have done for me, and for the teachers of Lee County. And I hope that you will extend the same courtesy to Tara. Thank you.
Congratulations. Any other public comment? If not, we'll move to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion for consent agenda?
I move the consent agenda consisting of the following: approval of minutes from the May 11th, 2017 regular meeting and the special call meeting on June 1st, 2017. Approval of claims and expenditures. Approval of Head Start Handbook Addendum. And approval of the 2017-2018 Federal Consolidated Grant Application.
Motion been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is reports of the board. Do we have any reports?
I have one thing I would like to say, and if any of you have looked in your mailbox, you should have a showcase for success from the School Boards Association, and I would like for us to maybe look at submitting some proposals, because in reading these proposals, I think our teachers have equal, if not greater quality of work than was submitted, and I believe the application is about February or March. But that's just a suggestion to recognize our people.
Thank you, Ms. Jessie. Anybody else? If not, next is reports of the division superintendent, Dr. Austin.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, first of all, I'm going to talk about enrollment that, of course, concluded last month, which it's hard to believe that we've been out of school for almost a month. But as you can see from the year-end report, enrollment ended up 3,026, almost 3,027 if you round, which was down almost 41 students from June of last year. So continue to see a downward trend, but enrollment held as far as the budget was concerned. So as we explained in the April board meeting, revenues held where they should have been, so we're okay on that. We'll be providing fiscal updates next month as we close out the fiscal year. Next up, we had the highest percentage of attendance. We recognized for the month of May, Flatwoods as being second and Elk Knob first in attendance for the month of May. And then also looking at the school year, Ely-Dale came in second and Elk Knob was first, and the difference there was 0.03%, 93.97 compared to 93.94. So those schools, good job on attendance. And then also you'll notice that Jonesville, Flatwoods, and Pennington are not far off from that. So tremendous efforts by our staff, students, and families to make sure that students were in school. So we wanted to make sure we recognize those staffs and, again, communities. Next up was an operations update. This just gives you an update. And if you look at the screen, these are updates of what was updated at each one of our buildings, what work was done by the maintenance staff. So again, those are something I'm not going to read to you, but you can see the level of work that's completed on a regular basis to maintain our facilities, not necessarily further the facilities as much as just maintain where we currently are. Any questions about any of that? Next up, just giving you an update of things that we're working on administratively this summer, continuing to have conversations about possible boundaries related to school board policy, JCBR. And this is, again, something we've had in place informally for the better part of a year. And students and teachers and I want to say parents have been taking students basically where they should be going based on phone calls to the bus garage. So anticipate bringing you something next month a little more firm with this. But again, this will be something that we continue to work on during the month of June. To address the previous item A, we are continuing to work on a policy to be able to address student attendance, whether it's absences, excuses, dismissals, and then there's a regulation that we are supposed to develop from the superintendent's side, so we will be working on that in June. July will be a lot of policy updates, some from VSBA and some from updates on the local policy. So again, just giving you a heads up on that. Next up, an update on facility study. Last week, we met and the board chose to present a proposal that was submitted by OWPR and Branch and Associates related to the facility study. This is a PPEA, part of the PPEA process, which is related to facilities. That is a document that's available on our website as well as available on EVA, which is the state procurement website, and it's also available on Board Docs. This document will be posted for 45 days. Companies may respond during that 45 days with alternate proposals, and then the board can evaluate those at the end of 45 days for consideration to send possibly to the Board of Supervisors. So just wanted to provide an update on that. Last thing is, administratively have been looking at the use of cell phones, and I will say the rates that we pay for cell phones. We have, as you're probably aware, 2 years ago had a 60% discount that came through E-rate. That went down to 40% this year and is going down to 20% next year and then going away in the next year. Administratively, we are recommending and pursuing doing away with cell phones altogether. As of June 30th, we will collect cell phones, and this gives us, our staff, the opportunity over the next 2 to 3 weeks to transition numbers, transition contacts to that detail. This will reduce expenditures about $14,000 a year.
How many staff currently have cell phones? Do you know?
21. Don't hold me to that number, but I think that's approximately what we have. And we've looked at utilization. Not everyone's using them. Okay. Mr. Chair, back to you.
Up next, unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? If not, we'll move to action and discussion items. Action A, action if any to authorize division superintendent to fill vacancies existing or occurring between June 9th, 2017 and July 13th, 2017. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion been made, I'll second it. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is item B, action if any to authorize administration to make necessary transfers between categories and to reconcile all the line items within the categories to make necessary transfers between all funds.
I make a motion that we authorize administration to make necessary transfers between categories and to reconcile all the line items within the categories and to make necessary transfers between all funds.
Motion been made, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is C, action if any to approve the update school board policy GCVD-BR staff attendance. Do we have a motion? Item C.
Mr. Chairman, if I may interject, the updates on this are some minor changes. The phrase that's in the current policy says all staff other than teachers, and this changes it to 12-month contracted staff, just clarifying some language in that, as well as adding Memorial Day to the holiday leave. This will be a 12-month holiday as well as a day that schools will be closed in the future. This is available on Board Docs, and that is, again, minor changes other than that.
One question about, did you find out that changing the date was better? I believe there was a change from March 31st to April 31st or something.
On the leave change?
The leave change.
Leave change, in talking with staff, and what this is if an individual took a leave day in the fall and they took a sick day and they're possibly going to lose that day, they can change that to a vacation day that during the window as proposed would be April 1st through May 31st. So basically a 2-month window that if you took a leave day during the year that you'd like to change instead of losing it, again, playing into the limits that were placed into force last year, this would address that.
Do we have a motion for item C? I'll make the motion for item C. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion been made with a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, action item D, if any, to award contract related to RFP number 17-1006, school auditor, and to Thrower, is that how you say that?
Yes.
Blanton and Associates.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is a part of the process that we have been going through with bidding. We have several RFPs out currently. These are 3 contracts that are related to the normal course of business. And as you can see, this is a recommendation that comes from a committee. This is, again, just standard operating procedure, but we wanted to make sure that we've got procurement coverage. So the administration recommends approval.
Who's the committee?
Oh. Can't read it from here. Was it Mr. Hobbs? Was there anybody else? It was administration.
Why is the finance committee not involved with that?
A small contract didn't want to,
How many people did, if you know?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
This was the lowest.
Yes. It's the company with whom we do business currently. They've been doing this for a number of years.
Any more discussion?
I'll make a motion that we award a contract to Thrower, Blanton and Associates as school auditor.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 4-1. Action item E, action if any to award contract related to RFP number 17-1007, physical therapy services to Moving Forward Physical Therapy Incorporated.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, again, this is part of standard operating procedure with us bidding out services that we've been using. This committee, I've pulled it up on my screen now, Vicki Brown, Sheila Spivey, and Doris Presley make the recommendation based on responses that came in. This is a company with whom we currently do business, but also was the lowest, most responsive bidder that was submitted. The administration recommends approval.
I make a motion we pass item E. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is F, action if any to award contract related to RFP number 17-1009, audiology services to Mountain Empire Hearing and Balance. Item F, do we have a motion?
Make a motion we award a contract related to RFP number 17-1009, audiology services to Mountain Empire Hearing and Balance.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is G, action if any to approve the purchase of communication devices for all vehicles and schools. Dr. Austin.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this has been a topic that we've discussed off and on, it feels like for 2 months. This is pricing that is available online that was submitted after our last board meeting. This is a reduction in the cost from approximately $360,000 to $300,000 to install radios that would be consistent with what the sheriff's office as well as fire and EMS will have in their vehicles, allow us to communicate with the county, different offices, as well as within our schools and within our buses. They'll be able to communicate between each other as well as back to the base in a better method. This will tie in with the county's use of repeaters and be able to allow us to communicate in a better fashion. This is a one-time expenditure, and administration is requesting a not-to-exceed amount of $300,000 as we continue to negotiate with the company about the installation as well as the devices. The devices, 80 of them will be mounted in units, whether it's a bus or whether it's a vehicle that transports students, whether it's a maintenance vehicle. Our technology vehicles will also have these. And then also there will be 40 that will be assigned to various staff that are the handheld units that will be made available at the school level. These units have 5-year warranties, and again, the county made this investment very similar, well, with the same devices, so administration recommends approval.
We have a motion on item G.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
I thought they had offered a better price recently.
The amount that was offered, I think it was on Friday, was $290,000, And with the installation, he came back with a different cost, and it ended up being more than 300,000, and we negotiated back down to 300,000 as recently as about 4:30 today. In part of an ongoing conversation.
Would the cost of installation be included in the price?
Yes, sir, I thought so, but
How could you use them?
Yeah.
the assumption could be made that we could install them, but for, it's approximately $50,000. I think it'd be better to have the related warranty that goes with them installing them than us doing it ourselves.
So what's the total price now?
Not to exceed 300,000.
If for some reason these, we get them and we don't have the reception that they're telling us that we're gonna have, is there any kind of do we have like 90 days or whatever to return them?
We would coordinate with the county sheriff's office, because if we're having problems, they would be having problems. So I feel sure they would come out and address that in a very rapid manner.
People in the schools are gonna have units too, right? Handheld units?
Administration, yes, sir.
Every school will have.
Yes, sir, ma'am.
And maintenance, I assume.
Yes, sir.
Who do we dispatch through?
We will dispatch through the bus shop.
The original price was what, to begin with? 250, 260?
250,000. And the reason that the difference in the pricing is there were discounts that were made available through Motorola through the end of March when we first considered this. Those discounts went away. That's why it went up to 360,000, as well as us picking up the cost of a console and a variety of things, some things that were going to go in dispatch as well as in the bus shop. The county was going to save some money, and they were going to help us offset those costs to begin with.
So if a school has, let's say if something happens at a school and they can't use their phones, it would go, if they had an emergency, it would go to the bus shop and not down here?
If somebody here had a radio, it would go to us, or it could go to the sheriff's office. They'll be monitoring this channel also.
Oh, the sheriff's
If there,
office?
yes, if there were a crisis, we would have, I'm gonna say a division-wide channel. We would have channels that are specific to that school. We would have channels that we could monitor the sheriff's office. Certain radios may be able to communicate with the sheriff's office. We could monitor what would be probably called a mutual aid, which would have EMS, fire, and the sheriff's office.
What does it mean to have a repeater?
A repeater basically means there's a tower. I think Buzzard's Roost is where they're talking about possibly putting the main tower, and then a repeater basically strengthens the signal. It takes the signal and extends it.
Okay.
Kind of like a router.
Kind of like an access point.
So when are these towers going to be installed?
They're already in place. The sheriff's office has been working on this since October, November, riding around with members of Motorola and a two-way radio to determine the strength of signal. And I'm going to say as recently as Monday, the major was in his vehicle going down to the western end to check a couple of places where they thought they had some dead spots. They have maps that show the amount of coverage throughout the county.
So by the time school starts, we should be up and running?
That would be the goal. I'm not sure of the time frame on this.
Can we not give them, I mean, if they're raising the rate, could we not say, we have a deadline, we want this done by this amount, or we want some money back?
Yes, ma'am. That's why we're asking for a not to exceed amount. That gives me the discretion to negotiate the price down. And that's where we want these in place by the start of school, but understand that we've got to coordinate with the sheriff's office. They take priority over us, and I mean, that's just the safety piece of it. If they upgrade their system, then they've got to get their units installed first. But yes, this would give administration the latitude to negotiate that.
I know it's a need, I hope that we're not, do you know anybody else nearby that has this same system that it's working good for?
Two-way radio, I can say, is a very reliable company. To say that I think Wise County went with somebody different. I think Scott uses it, but I'm not going to swear to that. This particular unit, I'm not sure of who would use this and didn't ask that question. I've been involved in the meetings with the sheriff's office and the county since January. So, I mean, there's been a variety of conversations, but I don't recall who has that.
You pretty much sign a contract, is that what you do with the company?
Yes, ma'am. Of course, we haven't signed anything at this point.
We have a motion for item G.
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of communication devices for all vehicles in schools not to exceed $300,000.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I do have one more question.
Yes,
This
ma'am.
money cannot be used for anything, like we could not put this money toward anything else? Is it pretty much money that would have to be used for something of this nature?
It's a one-time expense, yes, ma'am. It could be something that we could use for a variety of things. You could purchase vehicles with it, we could purchase buses with it, but with some anticipated savings and again, some monies that we reappropriated from last year, that would be the intent of using these funds to address that. Now, you could use it for roofs. I mean, this is not earmarked for anything in particular. Would be a one-time expense. It couldn't be used for raises. I mean, that's one thing I would say.
Could not be used for raises.
Could not, because we don't have a $300,000 commitment next year. The administration will come to you with one-time expenses for roofs and vehicles and that type of stuff, but this is not something that we can guarantee is going to be here every year, this funding.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I have a problem with spending this kind of money that we could use on school improvement and then going to the Board of Supervisors when we go and asking for a certain amount of money. Be concerned that they would maybe ask why we use that for this when we could have used it for the very matter that we want to ask them.
I will tell you, Ty, that this ideal actually rose from the Board of Supervisors. They decided they were going to provide radios to the Sheriff's Department. I think the fire departments too. Is that right, Dr. Ross?
Yes, sir.
And I guess.
So they don't have an issue with it?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna speak for them, but they're doing it for the fire departments and sheriff's departments, so.
Okay.
And I think we've all been skeptical about the cost of this project. I know I have, and I think we've tabled it and maybe voted it down before, but I guess the thing that comes back to me is that I've been told several different examples of people needing to communicate with the school system or with a bus or with a principal or a teacher, and they couldn't because of the areas they were located in. They didn't have cell phone service or whatever. And this will, I hope, take that issue off the table so we don't have to worry about not having communication if you have a situation that requires some emergency help. And that's why I'm going to vote for it. That's why I say it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. So,
And if I could make an additional comment, one of the things about going to the Board of Supervisors is they fund us at a minimum anyhow. That they were, I think, thrilled that we were partnering with them, and I think we'll be thrilled that we're partnering with them if you decide to support this.
Okay.
But the thing that I'm going to say is administration didn't recommend this at $360,000. I mean, I've continued to negotiate this down and will continue to negotiate this down because, to Mr. Hines' point, with the click of a button, you can speak to 30 people at one time, whereas if those same 30 people are trying to call my cell phone, I may have reception, but I can't answer everybody's phone calls. It increases communication dramatically.
the other thing is when this was brought back to my attention that Dr. Austin wanted to recommend it again, was I asked about doing some repairs to buildings, and I understand we have bids out now to do repairs to buildings. We're going to do those. That's a promise.
We have funds earmarked for that, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Something needs to be addressed there. The part that bothers me is the point you've already made and the inconsistency of this guy's number back and forth with his 360 down to start at 250. I understand there's a promotional code there or a deal with Motorola. Not to exceed 300,000 to me sounds like you can spend. We're going to give it to you for 300,000. You're saying we can negotiate back down to 250 or as low as we can get it.
I'm going to negotiate it as low as I can.
Right, but approving this ain't saying we're going to spend $300,000 on
That's worst case scenario.
And even more
As
so.
as it's presented, it's 300,000.
Right.
I'm going to negotiate it down as far as we can for that.
And even more so if they don't get those towers up in what I would think would be a time that would be reasonable, and the reception that if we get those things and we don't have good reception, then we've wasted our money. That's a concern of mine. It's just the not knowing of it. I mean, safety, I understand we need the safety.
I talked to a two-way guy earlier in the week, and they were putting a tower in Keoki. I know that. So, And one in you and your Rose Hill?
Yes, and to that point, Ms. Fannin, if they don't serve us well, that means they're not serving the county well. And the county's already made a significant investment, more than what we're investing. And so I feel sure they will partner with us in complaining.
Warranty
We're getting it
wise,
fixed.
with these, can you elaborate any on that? Warranty and service, what's in the agreement after we get all this put in?
5 years on the actual equipment. If anything goes wrong, then they will provide us a radio. That was part of the promotion. It was
5
provided at no
years?
cost. So,
5 years.
5 years, yes.
Okay.
And honestly, I know you're wanting to go ahead and proceed or look at it, but I think maybe you all need to have a little bit more details as far as what's in the contract before you approve it.
Well, you'll review the contract once we
I
get
mean,
it.
I'll review the contract, but at the same time, I think you all need to know exactly what you're agreeing to, because that's a major purchase.
Yes.
But Mr. Sturgill, to that point, if it's a not to exceed 300,000 and we've got issues with it, we can say no. I mean, administratively.
You could, but at the same time, I think you need to fully understand what you're agreeing to before you vote. That's just my position.
And I don't think that's too much to ask. I mean, I don't think that should give them the right to raise it. All we need is to see the contract that we're going to sign. I don't think that's too much to ask. Have you saw the contract?
I've seen the one that they provided the county. I imagine it'll be something similar. But that's where, and Mr. Sturgill, you'd have to correct me on this, but that's what the board hires me to do, is look at the contracts. They hire you to help review, and then we sign on behalf of the board. If there's any issues with the contract, then we will not sign it. I mean, I give you those assurances. But my concern is, if we say no again, we'll have to go at this a different route. I mean, they've extended pricing from the end of March. It went away April 1st to June. And who's not to say there's not a better deal coming on a different model? I mean, there may be, but as presented, this is as good as it gets.
And I still think that you all need to fully know what you're signing on.
What you're agreeing to.
Exactly. I mean, I agree that he's to look at it, make recommendations for the best interest of the school district, and I would also review the contract and let you know if there's any issues. And
Because there may be something that you want to bring to us that you would see.
right, I'm just concerned about the technology piece of it, and wanting to make sure that it works and make sure that the warranties are in place, and that you all fully understand the extent.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Any more discussion?
Let me think about this for a second. You read the contract the county has with them?
Yes, sir.
Why would it not be identical?
That's what I would think.
Is there anything in there that gave you pause or anything that you maybe felt like you need to discuss with Will, or it just seemed pretty straightforward?
In my experience with purchasing technology similar to this, and I'm not going to say in the quantity that this is purchased, but similar language related to licensing and use of towers, and a lot of FCC language, typical stuff that I'm going to say I've seen, but to say that I understand the FCC licensing would be a stretch. But as far as the contractual nature of it, breach of contract, that type of stuff, nothing jumped out at me.
And I'm gonna make a motion to amend the motion.
We'll deal with this first. Motion made and seconded. I
Make a motion to
Make a
amend.
motion.
Yeah.
think. Okay.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to amend the motion, add language, and I'll think about this, but that before the contract is signed, Dr. Austin, School Board Attorney Will Sturgill have to be in agreement that contract is in the best interest of the board and the school system. That'll be my motion to amend the motion to add that language. Is that appropriate?
And that can be done soon, correct?
As soon as we get the contract.
Does that suit you, Will?
I mean, again, that takes care of my concern as far as me looking at it. but at the same time, I want to make sure that you all know exactly what you're agreeing to.
What if you amend it to, if he sees something that he feels that we need to be aware of, that will bring it to us?
And the only reason I say that is because what I would hate is that I see something, I don't see a legal issue with it, but at the same time, there's a warranty there in place that you all wish was better or something like that, and that you all had a problem with. So I would personally feel more comfortable with you all seeing the contract and then approving it.
Basically, what you're saying is we're not agreeing to spend the money tonight, we're agreeing to let you look at the contract. If you two don't agree, it dies, correct?
Well, he wants us to see it as
Right.
well.
I want you all to see
Would you be comfortable with the finance committee reviewing it before contract
I want to
signing?
see it. I'd like to see it.
Okay.
I'll say this, it is a lot of money, and it is a roof somewhere. We faced with that.
Now, it's a need, but I want to make sure that we are getting what we're paying to get.
Motion's been made, do we have a second?
I second to amend.
Motion's been made with a second to amend. Any discussion on the amendment motion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
No,
No. Motion carries 3-2. Next on the agenda is board comments. Do we have any board
Wait a
comments?
minute, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Parliamentary wise, we need to pass the full motion now
Okay, motion's been
for
made
the amendment.
for G. Motion item G has been made. Do we have a second?
I did a second.
We already had a second.
We did.
That was to amend
That
the
was
original
to amend the
motion.
motion. Now we need
Now you
to
need-
pass or defeat the amended
But we already
motion.
had a second.
We already
for the
had that
original
before we
motion,
amended
and
it.
She seconded the amendment, and that's passed. Now we need to pass the motion, right?
The amended
So we
motion.
just need to vote.
Go ahead, Debbie.
We've already had a motion and a second. Is that right, Debbie?
Correct.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Motion's been made
Unless there's more discussion on the amended motion.
We don't have,
And for clarification, this is if Mr. Sturgill and I review the contract and we're okay with it and we send it to the board, then this is actionable that we could sign the contract. Is
yeah,
that,
I'm fine with that, yeah.
As far as,
Yeah.
I mean,
because the contract's a public document.
I guess the thing about it is, I mean, we just voted earlier to let you hire people over the next month. I think that's more important, giving you more power and getting some radios and a contract. I mean, you and Will, I have no question, I have confidence you two can look at it. If there's a problem, you'll not sign it. And then we'll never hear about it. Maybe.
Maybe not.
We'll provide you a radio so you can talk.
Yeah, I need one of those, baby.
Motion's been made with a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
no.
No. Motion carries 3-2. Are we cleared away? Next up is board comments. Do we have any board comments?
I'm going to mention that we all, I know some of us attended the graduations of Thomas Walker and Lehigh. I know in particular, the presentation by the chorus down at Thomas Walker, that was just excellent. And then there was a speech at Lehigh. You know, they always have 4 or 5 people that speak, and they have a different category that they address. And there was one young lady that addressed the issue of perseverance. And when she stood up and started talking, she indicated that she had been to 5 or 6 different high schools in her life and lived with many different families, and she had just moved into Lee County. She said, nobody knows me or probably cares about who I am or my story, but she told her story. And I think there's a lot of tears in the audience listening to this young lady tell her story and all the struggles that she's overcome. She's going to be going to Virginia Tech on a scholarship. And I think I looked over at Pam while the young lady was speaking, and I said, that lady right there has learned more about life in her 17 or 18 years than everybody else in this football stadium. So it was just very impressive to attend both graduations, and I really enjoyed it. I also want to say I know that some of the schools in the county, Thomas Walker and Lee, of course, have had some students participate in regional and even some state championship events over the past couple of weeks. And I don't actually have a list of everybody or what actual teams, 4x100 or whatever that participated, but I congratulate them, so that's all I have.
Any other board comments?
I wish there was more teachers here, because I'd really like to brag on our teachers that we have in our county. So many of them, I think, put more than what is asked for a lot of teachers. I know teachers care. I know teachers have cried over kids having a hard time passing SOLs and have lost sleep and just come together as groups. I know Dryden, I think they did really, really well. Pennington Middle, their scores went, I think, I'm not sure if they got completely out of warning, but I do know that their scores really raised. St. Charles Elementary in their 5th grade had 100% pass rate. I know that's a small school and that's low numbers, but still, that's something that, and teachers, I mean, they have went far and beyond, I think, their call of duty when it comes to SOLs. I couldn't imagine. You know, when I go home, I can leave my job. When you're a teacher, you can't. And more so, the state has put more so on teachers that they you know, you worry about that child, and you know, it's not maybe that you've not been able for them to grasp what you've taught them. Some people just don't test well, and then, you know, you're at the mercy of the state for them to be able to pass that SOL. And I think we have excellent teachers. I think we are very, very blessed to have the teachers that we have, the teachers that care, that it's just not a place to go and get a paycheck. I mean, I know teachers that stayed after to do remediation, teachers that went early, teachers that are there for summer school, and most of them are not there to get that extra paycheck. They're there because they're concerned about some kids that need to pass their SOL. And I wish this room was full, and I'd stand up and give you a standing ovation, because I am proud of the teachers of Lee County, all of them.
I agree with Ms. Fan. Anybody else got any more comment? If not, do we have a motion to go into closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion going into closed session to discuss personnel, Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A1, and to discuss pending and threatened litigation, Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A7.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Now in closed session.